Trevor Lawrence might be the most overrated and most overhyped quarterback of our lives. Like the video if you agree with me. I'm Harrison Graham, and you're watching For Verts, where we talk NFL and college football every single day. And Trevor Lawrence is really, really struggling. And the more I watch him and the more I just think about it, is this player the most overrated player we've ever seen? Now, I think people confuse the word overrated with it just means horrible or bad. And right now, he is kind of horrible and bad. Throughout his career, he hasn't been horrible. But I think when you consider the hype, how much he's been paid, and for how little he's delivered up to this point in his career, this might be the most overrated quarterback in the history of the NFL up to this point. Now, obviously, there's been bigger failures like Jamarcus Russell or Ryan Leaf or insert any other quarterback bust, but did any of those guys become the highest paid player in the league at one point? Because that is what the Jags did this offseason with Trevor Lawrence. You look at his numbers through 3 weeks. He's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league right now. Less than 53%. He's airmailing balls left and right. The pick he threw on Monday Night Football to Damar Hamlin was just atrocious. And the guy is wide open on a crosser, airmails him, Hamlin picks him off coming the other way. Cool story for Damar, but it's like, what is Trevor doing? That ball is nowhere close. That's Anthony Richardson airmailing balls against the Bears this past weekend. And you could sit there and say, well, Harrison, it's 3 games, small sample size, yada, yada, yada. This has been an extended stretch of time now. Trevor Lawrence has not been good for quite a while. I mean, he really hasn't been. Over his last 8 games, he's lost 7 of them, and he's completing under 60% of his passes in those games. 11-8 touchdown interception ratio. That's backup quarterback numbers. It really is. That is not like, okay, he's struggling a little bit, but he'll be fine. That's a backup. I mean, for over half a season now, he has played like a backup quarterback, and you watch him and his mechanics sometimes and his accuracy issues, and he kind of looks like a broken quarterback. He kind of looks like a broken player, and ultimately, I have to ask myself when I watch this player play, what does he do well? Seriously, what does he do well? He's not accurate. He doesn't throw with great touch. He's an okay athlete, but it's not like you're going to run with him a bunch. Like, what about his game is so special? Like, coming out of Clemson, you're like, okay, big physical guy, good athlete, strong arm, but if he's going to airmail every third pass, if he's not a great deep ball thrower, what is the part of his game where you're like, there it is, that is something I can point to? Right now, I don't really see anything that screams elite to me or even high level. Doesn't mean he can't get there. Doesn't mean he hasn't played well at times. But I just look at Trevor Lawrence and I'm like, I don't want to watch. It's not entertaining. He's not good. And the Jaguars are in a really tough spot because they just gave him huge, huge money. So we're going to kind of dive into what this means moving forward, if it can get back on track here in just a moment. But first, if you want to support the show for free, subscribe to the channel. And I'll tell you what, if we pick up 20 new subscribers from this episode alone, got to click subscribe right below the video on your screen right now. We'll drop 2 videos tomorrow. We're doing at least 1 video per day. Some days we do 2. If we get 20 subs from this video, we'll drop 2 of them tomorrow. So if you want the latest NFL and college football content, subscribe to us here at 4Verts. You look at Trevor Lawrence's contract. Other than Deshaun Watson, ironically a Clemson Tiger as well, this is easily the worst contract in the NFL. They just gave him a 5-year, $275 million deal with $200 million guaranteed. That is a massive, massive contract for anybody, much less a guy who's nowhere near top 5. And I thought it at the time, and I really think it now. Why did they feel the urge to pay him top dollar so quickly? They paid him after his 3rd NFL season, where you can do that. Quarterbacks are eligible, and all players are eligible after their 3rd year of their rookie contract. But you didn't have to. It's not like you were bent over a barrel. Was Trevor Lawrence going to hold out coming off a bad year where he didn't play that well last year? Like, when you really think about it, it was kind of insane considering the way he finished last year. Because to me, if you're going to pay top dollar for a quarterback 2 years before his rookie deal is done, he better be like top 5 already and ascending, and you're saying, hey, I'm just getting ahead of the QB contract clock, right? Like, pay him now, it's less on your cap later. And of course, you want to do that when you feel great about a player, but how can you feel great about Trevor Lawrence right now? How could they have felt great about him coming off of last season? I'm sure they still felt good. I'm sure they're like, okay, finished poorly, but he had an ankle thing. The team didn't play great. Like, it's, we feel good about him, but he's got his 4th year left plus a 5th year team option. We don't have to force the issue here. Yet they operated as if he was going to be a free agent. Not if he had 1 year left, a free agent, and he had 2 years left. What is going on with the Jags? And if this continues, they're stuck with him. They can't do anything about it right now. They can't realistically bail until after the 2027 season. So you've got this year, 2025, 2026, 2027. You got 3 full years left after this year. Now, could they bench him and just have a huge contract hit a couple of years from now? Sure, but let's be real. They are going to roll with him at least this year, next year, and probably the year after that, given his contract and given the $200 million they guaranteed into this player. So what does that mean? Well, it means that Doug Pederson is screwed unless this gets turned around immediately. They are going to fire Doug Pederson and pair Trevor with the new coach. Now, I do want to be clear. I don't think Doug's that good. You look at his career, he won the Super Bowl with Philly. That's his only 10-plus win season. He's won some other playoff games. He's kind of a big game coach, but he can't even get to the big games anymore. Again, they've lost 8 out of 9 since starting 8-3 last year, and their only win in that stretch is a win over Carolina last year when Bryce Young was playing. You beat a AAA team, right? It's the only team they've beaten. So what does that tell you? It tells you that the Jags are one of the worst teams in the NFL for about a half a season now. So, look, to kind of put a wrap on this, Trevor's obviously talented. He obviously is capable. He's had good moments in the NFL, but they paid him as the highest paid player in NFL history for basically one good season. That's what they did. For one good season, which was in 2022 when he completed 66% of his passes and threw over 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 8 picks. And by the way, just to add context to that as well, Baker Mayfield has had 2 seasons of similar caliber. Baker makes like $30 million a year, $33 million per year. I would much rather have Baker Mayfield at his price tag than Trevor Lawrence at his. It's not even close. And quite frankly, if all were equal, I would think about it. And I might go with Baker based on recent play. He was much better last year. And yeah, he didn't have a great game last week, but the first 2 weeks he looked very good as well. He's been a better player than Trevor for over a year now. It's not a good look for the Jags. They didn't have to pay him, and they did. And going back to Clemson, early on, he was awful his rookie year. And, we all blamed Urban Meyer, and I think that was valid. But you look at it, it's year 4 now, and he's had one good season in 4 years. He's not a top 10 guy. I don't think he's a top 15 quarterback. Is he top 20 right now? I mean, seriously, if you really thought about it and went through all 32 teams and just took out money, contracts, all of it, would he be a top 20 quarterback? I don't know if the answer is yes. That's how quickly things have gone south for Trevor Lawrence. And again, doesn't mean it can't turn around. Obviously, they're going to give him a lot of time. They just paid him. But I would imagine they're going to fire Doug Pederson and probably Trent Baalke and hire a new regime. And if that regime can't figure it out with Trevor, then his career is going to be in jeopardy at that point. Long way away from that, but overrated, overhyped. I think it's very safe to say that. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of For Verts. My name is Harrison Graham. Again, if we pick up 20 new subscribers, we will drop 2 episodes tomorrow. Also, hit the like button if you agree with me that Trevor Lawrence is extremely overrated. We'll see you guys soon here on For Verts.